Okay, mate. Next club off the rank, we'll go with. We've already done Man City. Let's do Arsenal. They came second. I'll let
The
you go
Mighty
first.
Gooners.
The Mighty Gunners, my club. So I'll let you go first, and you can say what you thought of them as a season. First of all, how would you rank their season overall?
Well, let's get school in
Professor
session.
Pooch.
Hopefully a cheeky
Professor
little
Pooch.
bell ring. Professor Pooch in session. Right, style of football, I'd give him an A. Thought Odegaard in particular, sort of, as obviously a little bit of Mesut Ozil sort of passing ability to him. And I think in particular him with the two lads out wide are particularly exciting. So I thought Jesus started off really well. Obviously then got injured. Probably had a couple of good games on the way back, but it just lacked. It just seemed to tail off a little bit. But style of football A. New signings integrated. So new signings. I've got Zinchenko, Jesus, Trossard, all of which I thought did really well. We signed an Italian centre half, or at least from an Italian club, Kiwor. Vieira. I don't think they saw much of their.
Vieira
So much
struggled
game
with
time.
injuries. Yeah, Vieira struggled with injuries.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give him a B plus then. I thought both Jesus and Zinchenko started off really well. And then I think just in the run-in they tailed off a bit. So B plus on that side. Progressed. A plus, no doubt, from the guys that threw away it was a Champions League to Spurs last year to the team that sort of, I guess, for 95% of the season, gave City a really good run, and if anything, going to be disappointed they didn't go all the way. Best win of the season, I've gone with a 2-0 to Spurs, just because I think they learned from previous year where I think they really dominated the ball against Conte last year and just got caught on the break twice. They looked quite amateurish, I thought. Arteta got stung by Conte. This year they stitched them up. And obviously, big game against the London rivals. Worst result. I know they were on the downturn at the time, but given they'd dropped out of Europa League, everyone's sort of the standard feedback is now we can focus on the league. For them to, I think, then have a poor result like they drew against Southampton. But then for me, you've got to put your balls on the line, go all out against City, and I just felt no one was up for the fight in that game, and I just thought they literally didn't get out of first gear. And if I was an Arsenal fan, I would have been livid, because that was the game just to give yourself that little bit of extra hope, and you actually got smashed in that game, and there wasn't a chance. I just didn't think you boys came to the party on that game. Best moment of the season was probably the last second winner against Bournemouth, where you boys celebrated like you'd won the league. It's probably the moment where you thought it actually might be the year for you. When you had last second goal, you start thinking, right, this is another big win after a couple of other big wins before where they'd sort of had late winners.
I've actually got that, funnily enough, as my great result of the year, because it was dead and buried, and they came back, and it did. Okay, they over celebrated it, but that kind of thing used to happen to Man United when they won the league.
I was going to bring that up,
Yeah, Macedo and stuff like that, those kind of last minute winners, Michael Owen. They're the kind of goals that win you the league. And it just had a vibe about it that day. It kept them 8 points clear, and it was. Yeah, that was my result of the year, because it just looked like they were together and it was a team that refused to lose. Obviously that changed later in the season, but yeah, that was my great result of the year.
Yep. So no trophies, as we know. Now, for me, I'm going to give him a B plus, only on the basis that, had they been offered second at the start of the season, they would have probably snatched your hand off. But for me, your expectations in the season change if you have the results and the performances that they did leading into those last 10 games. And had they maybe got that result against Liverpool, which obviously then was the draw, which led to another draw against West Ham from memory, and then again against Southampton, they sort of slowly were getting reined in by City. So B plus overall, good season. I'll wait to hear from you, mate, before we go into their needs.
Yeah, no bother. So I'll quickly go through mine. I'm giving them an A, right? It would have been an A plus, but they did tail off right at the end. But if you'd given me second at the start of the season, I would have bit your hand off it, and no trophies. But I will go as far to say that fourth in a trophy or third in a trophy is still better than second and no trophies, right? So I'm happy to admit that. But where Arsenal were choking last year up at Newcastle to give Spurs fourth spot, and that was a full season with no Europe, and I just thought, if you can't get into Champions League when you've not got European football. How are you going to do it with Europa every Thursday night? So I was really, really impressed by how they played, and the fact that they were in the title race. I was happy for them to forego the trophies. I wanted them out of Europe earlier, to be honest, and I didn't care about the cups, because I thought, if you can only play once a week, keep that team. We knew the squad wasn't great, it wasn't large. You can keep the same 11 as close to every week. We might be able to do this. So I was happy with the chase for a long time. So I'm giving them an A. Stella Football A+. I think they actually, for most of the season, were the best team to watch in the Prem. They play some really good stuff. It's really tidy. There's goals. It's fast, and they were tight at the back as well for a lot of the season as well. The new signings integrated were fantastic. Zinchenko looks like he's been part of the team for a long time. Jesus, everything ran through him at the first half of the season until he got injured. And Saliba, who was signed 2 seasons ago but was sent out on loan, he was like a new signing this year, and probably
that's why I didn't include him, because that could be the moment of the year actually when he got injured for a negative reason.
That's what I'm going to say. But progress, yes, definitely. Up to second is definitely progress. The way they play is much better to watch, and with the exception of Man City, they looked really comfortable at home against everyone else. Disaster result of the year for me was the Liverpool game, 2-0 up, cruising, 8 points clear, and somehow you draw that game. Everything fell apart after that. We drew.
Tough Anfield. I mean, United, even the Glory United teams will say how difficult it is there.
But 2-0 up, but 2-0 up and cruising, and then Xhaka riles them up the fans. That changed the momentum and the atmosphere.
As soon as they get one, then they're on you. But
they could have got 3. I think Ramsdale ended up man of the match at the end. But disaster result of the year for me was, I've said disaster result.
Sorry, you said.
Notable moment of the year for me was Arteta choosing to play strongest team against Sporting Lisbon and losing Saliba to injury. I think we also lost maybe Partey that night as well to injury as well, but or Odegaard. But Saliba ended up out for the rest of the season pretty much, and that cost us the league single-handedly. The defence just wasn't solid after that. No one was good enough to replace him.
You can't have the drop off between Saliba to Holding is just chalk and cheese. Isn't it?
It's like Van Dijk to Gomez or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's not the same team. And I think every Arsenal fan, we were top of the league and at that point cruising with a lot of momentum. We did not need the Europa League. You win the Europa League, it gets you into the Champions League, I get that. But we didn't need it. There were some right good teams in it. It wasn't as if Man U and Juventus weren't all still in it at that point. They were. The fans were, honestly, every Arsenal fan I've spoken to wanted us out of that cup. We ended up getting knocked out by Sporting Lisbon, but at a cost of losing Saliba for the season, and he shouldn't have been anywhere near the team that night. So that was the notable moment of the year for me, because it literally did change it from a title winning year to second. Trophies is 0, and I'm still going to give him an A for ratings, and I'll lead in with my expected signings and needs. I would love us to get Declan Rice. I think he's a game changer, whoever gets him. I would have liked us to get Mason Mount, but we don't seem to be linked with him, and it looks like we've just signed Kai Havertz, who I like, but I would have rather had Mason Mount over Kai Havertz.
The Kai Havertz one, for me, for a team that's you're haggling over the money for Rice. You know you're going to have to put 100 mil up, with the add-ons for Rice. Now again, that's an absolute premium. So just get that done. That done. But to spend 65, had you got Havertz for 30, I would have said worth the risk.
I'm wondering if Arteta thinks he's a good. I mean, he's very expensive if he is going to use him like this. But if he's going to play him in the same role that Jesus plays, and he's basically going to play as the number 9, but that holding player that brings everyone else into play the way Jesus does. So I'm wondering if he's going to do that, or if he's going to play him behind as a number 10 behind Jesus.
That for me is where I see him in that sort of, because for me he's not strong enough to hold the ball up, but he does look talented lad, but
he's a good player, but
he's certainly not been played in the right position at Chelsea. If it's a squad
player, then it's a great signing. If it's a first team
100%
player, then who's going to miss out? Because
for me, he is a squad player, and that's a lot of money to be spending for them when they've got other more critical needs.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Declan Rice for me is the number 1 need. I would definitely like another right back. If we had another good right back, that means that you can play White in centre half if there's injuries to Gabriel or Saliba. And if it was possible to upgrade Gabriel, I'd get a better centre half. I'm really happy with the goalie. I'm really happy with Zinchenko. Odegaard's brilliant. Martinelli and Saka up top are brilliant. Jesus. Obviously, if a world-class striker came up, But it doesn't look like obviously if they spend the money on Havertz and Rice, doesn't look like that's going to be.
There's literally two really good strikers
exactly.
in Osimhen and Kane that might be on the. Kane's obviously a no-go.
So that's a no-go, but I mean that's, like I said, only if that was a possibility I'd say yes to that. But otherwise, I really would have liked Mason Mount, because I think the English thing, linking up with Declan Rice as well, he's a box-to-box player. I think that would have been a better signing than Havertz. But we're happy enough for that, and let's hope Declan Rice comes.
Yeah. Just on a point with, Stan Kroenke's only needs Arsenal to get over the line now, because he's got the
Nuggets, he's got the 49ers.
And the Avalanche.
He's got the Avalanche. He's won everything the last 3 years. So Arsenal's turn, and he could have got it this year. You never know. But I think that was the chance for Arsenal. I can't see them being at the races next year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you had, Jesus was almost a backup striker, you would have an insane squad. If you can get to that sort of level.
Oh yeah.
But I just don't think there's that many great strikers around, and hence the value for even these young kids are ridiculous.
You need to be looking to do an old Wenger thing where you get someone from nowhere that no one knows about, and he turns it to be. I mean, the thing is, they've got this guy Balogun who scored 25 goals in the French league.
Looks tasty. He's American, isn't he? Or he's chosen to play for America.
He just chose to go to America.
He scored
for America, and he scored. But he looks really good as a squad player. For Arsenal.
And then there's
talk of selling him, which I think is wrong. But again, if they need to cash in, then they need to cash in.
Yeah, I think you need two midfielders and that sort of right back. I think what Arteta's looking to do is buy versatile players, with someone like a Zinchenko that can play that inverted fullback a little bit, like John Stones, who comes and plays in midfield. So if you're getting Caicedo that can play midfield and then right back, as he's done for Brighton, that sort of kills two birds with one stone, as it were. The big thing is, I think this is Arsenal's big year of spending. I think what you'll find is they'll buy a load of players. The only issue in the strategy is the guys are not going to have the experience that you possibly may need. But what they're going to do is they're going to buy Havertz, who's 24, Rice, who's 24, a couple of others. They're going to go big, and then the news is from the owners is that they want to be more sustainable moving forward. So what they'll look to do is, obviously these guys, the value obviously should go up over the years, and then they'll add one or two moving forward to hopefully a squad that's obviously better. But I think this is the year of getting their hand in the kitty, as it were, because they've usually been pretty frugal, haven't they?
Yeah, very much so. I mean,
since Wenger.
Yeah, but even you listen to the.
Do you remember Suarez? 40 million and £1.
Yeah.
We'll take anything over 40 million for him. 40 million and £1.
Just ridiculous. But,
so
so
that's it for Arsenal.
Yeah, that concludes Arsenal. I think that was a good one.